So you're saying I can't use the radio voice?
I will walk out of here right now.
Why won't you let me use the radio voice?
Because it sounds like you have a bouffant hairdo. And I have
Ladies and gentlemen,
no,
Conway
God, I'm going to walk away. I swear to God.
No, I was quoting an episode of The Family Guy where the dad on Family Guy needed a distraction. And he went, ladies and gentlemen, Conway Twitty. And they played a Conway Twitty snip for like 2 minutes. It was a long time. It was a long time of Conway Twitty doing nothing but standing there. And so they cut back to the dad. He needed that distraction to get the mom.
Hey, y'all. I'm Robin.
Hey, I'm Ryan. So yeah, she won't let me use the radio voice while I'm doing this, and I have a radio voice that I can switch gears into, but she won't let me do it.
It is something else.
It is something else.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? You worked at home today.
I did. It was awesome.
It was awesome having you around.
Yeah, I worked at home. I had several things that I needed to be at home for. One of them was getting my favorite old box elder tree with a trunk the size of a small car.
It is a big trunk.
Cut down.
It was a big trunk.
Yeah, I was super sad, but they did a great job.
But it was pretty hollow on the inside. It was mush.
It was literal mush. Like when they showed me what they cut it down into firewood, but they couldn't do a lot of firewood because there was so much mush on the inside.
Right.
So yeah, it was a
next
good
gale
choice.
Force wind with a serious snowstorm that would come along would drive that thing right into the side of the house. So
right where we are sitting.
Right where we are sitting. So I'm glad they got rid of it.
Yeah. So I was home for that. That was exciting.
I get to do a Rocky IV montage splitting wood for the next few days.
Yeah, because they cut a lot of that wood, but they didn't split it for us. So that's all you.
And I'm gonna get my 80s.
Oh, and that yard on the side needs to be cleaned up.
Rocky IV soundtrack going.
I'm gonna be busy.
And I'm gonna be using that as a workout. And
are you gonna wear a bandana around your head?
Well, of course. While the bad person,
are you gonna wear jorts?
I can, yes. Jorts and a bandana.
Video to follow.
That's right. That's coming. Follow me for more 80s flashback stuff while the bad evil guy, my opponent, is taking steroids in a high-tech gym. So that's a Rocky IV reference. I see the confusion on your face. So in the Rocky IV, he was out in the wilderness in Russia because they were going to fight in Russia. He's in like Siberia, and he's chopping wood and pulling a plow and doing all this kind of crazy stuff. Old school workouts in a barn. Drago had state of the art, top of the line, everything.
That's probably hilarious to watch now.
Steroids. Oh yeah, totally. Now if you look at the technology, it's like
probably comical.
It's like Pong kind of state of the art in those days, but it was 80s computer state of the art kind of stuff.
I vaguely remember him pulling a plow. That was a real thing,
with
right?
steroids. I think it was a plow or a rickshaw or something like that. He was lifting heavy weights and doing sit-ups
in the rickshaw anymore.
I don't know the name of the word, the thing.
What do they call it?
It was something that a horse is supposed to pull, but he was doing
a
buggy something.
Rickshaw is a human pulled.
Actually,
we don't say rickshaw anymore, but I apologize because I don't know what we're supposed to say.
I don't know what the real word is. That's the best I got. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not apologizing because I don't know the other word. So
I'm going to
sorry.
sit here crisscross applesauce.
There you go. And not call them monkey bars.
Yep. True story.
True story.
We're making fun of... Did we make fun of this already?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. My kids' elementary school, my daughter's elementary school, they were making sure that everything was correct that you said. Like you had to say crisscross applesauce. And you could not say monkey bars. You had to call them horizontal ladders.
We might need to tell what crisscross applesauce is. For those who don't have little kids, crisscross applesauce is when you sit and you cross your legs. What we used to call...
in the 70s, we called it Indian style.
When you and I were little, it was called sitting Indian style. Now you can't say that. You got to call it crisscross applesauce. So some people listening might not know if they don't have the littles.
And you were climbing or you were going across horizontal ladders.
Horizontal ladders, not monkey bars.
And that confused the heck out of me. I was like, are monkeys offended? Like, I don't get it. So, yeah.
The chimpanzees have a strong lobby. Pygmy marmosets ain't playing.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, so we watched Social Dilemma. And
on
we
Netflix.
Made my son watch it too. And
yes.
Actually, he did watch it.
He did watch the whole thing.
It was pretty interesting. I know a lot of people aren't happy with Netflix right now, but if before you get rid of your Netflix, you should watch Social Dilemma.
While you still have it till the end of this month.
Yeah.
Find the show. It's called Social Dilemma. It's only about an hour and a half, and it's a real easy watch. It is very telling, though, and it's a lot of people that were original designers in Facebook and Google and Yahoo maybe.
And Google, Instagram,
Pinterest, some
Facebook,
of the other ones. Yes,
Twitter.
Pinterest guy was there, like former president of Pinterest or something.
Twitter, a lot of the developers, a lot of the architects, a lot of the CEOs.
Right.
So it's people from the inside who created, and basically they admit to creating the monster that has become.
And some of it was totally unintentional. Like they totally would have never meant for, like for instance, like the like button.
Right. The guy from Facebook who talked about when they created the like button, he said they did that with the best of intentions to make people feel good and make people happy. But as time went on, they realized that it could be manipulated. And basically, long story short, when you're watching this, they talk about that we are the commodity. Our behaviors are the commodity, not the ads. The ads that are being sold, those products are not the commodity. You and I are the commodity.
Right.
And I've often said with Google that we have traded our entire lives and all of our privacy for free mapping.
Oh, yeah.
Because Google has the best maps. I mean, well, Waze is good.
I'm a Waze guy.
But
shout out.
Honestly, like we have all traded so much of our freedom for free maps and a free search engine.
Right.
And it's not free.
It's not.
They
You're
know
absolutely
literally
right.
every click everything you click twice on, Google knows how to manipulate you to click 3 times.
Right. I think one of the better, and this is, it's something, if you're a parent, especially a parent of, I will say this, of younger girls coming up, you definitely, I wish something like this had been around in the 2012 to 13 era. I was parenting more in those days than I am now, of teenagers. And there was the like button, for instance. Some girls get, if they put a picture out there and it doesn't get enough likes or it gets the wrong kind of comment, the suicide rate has skyrocketed.
It's 3 times since the advent of social technology with middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Yep.
It's more than tripled.
Since that, I think it like 2013. Yeah, 2013, 2014, and that forward was when social media really started blowing up.
Yeah.
And if you were not on the very cutting edge of social media and knowing what was what, then there was a lot of girls that got caught, a lot of guys too.
Well, and still
body conscious folks,
yeah.
and hell, even older people that they want to look like the Instagram, not realizing that what's on the Instagram is
not real.
It's not real, filtered,
not
it's
real.
fake.
One of the other things that I thought was interesting, all of the scientists and developers, they don't let their kids touch social media until they are at least in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember reading before that Steve Jobs did not let his kids ever have iPhones or iPads or computers for anything other than schoolwork.
Right.
And it's because these people know the harm that all these things can do. And there was one developer who was actually, they also had people from YouTube on. I'm telling you, there's a lot in an hour and 30 minutes.
Right.
But one of the guys who actually created YouTube pioneered, you watch a video and then they give you something else. They suggest something else for you. YouTube was the pioneer of that technology of suggesting. And they have not used it for above board means.
They're horrible. Yes.
And besides just
they're really good at it, but they do it for horrible reasons.
They really do, and they have actually created extremism. If you look at different countries, YouTube has had a direct hand.
That's right. I forgot about that part. How they've affected elections in a lot of, I want to say, Myanmar, like used to be Burma, if you're not familiar, and then some Central and South American countries and some Southeast Asian countries, if I'm not mistaken.
And they have specifically targeted.
Yes, created hate groups and all that other kind of stuff.
And so they talk about how YouTube and Facebook and Google have the ability to, they kept talking about turn it up, dial it up.
Oh, yeah.
And they do that intentionally, so we all need to be aware. And it can be as simple as one of the YouTube ex-executives or ex-developers said, don't let YouTube choose your next video. Don't mindlessly let YouTube feed you things. Be intentional. Right. Only watch, they didn't say stop watching YouTube. They said stop letting YouTube choose what you're going to watch.
Right.
So that's a simple thing. You're not telling people to burn their phones, but you're telling them to be intentional.
Definitely be mindful. And again, parents, I don't care how old your kids are, if they're 2 or 22, you need to watch Social Dilemma. Like I said, it's on Netflix. If you're pissed off at Netflix right now because of Cuties, I understand.
Don't watch Cuties.
Watch Social Dilemma, and then when you're trying to cancel and it runs out anyway, then do that. But definitely strongly recommended. Rob and I, again, we don't agree on everything, but this is one we came together on this one. It's like this. It was telling. I mean, I walked around for a good while thinking about that stuff. So, especially having been a parent of teenage girls and all of that. So,
I've always been pretty militant about social media. with kids because it really, I've known that it's letting millions of people into your house. You're giving them a house key and you're welcoming them in.
Sure.
And you can't undo what kids see.
Right. Having said that,
are we going on to Cuties? Please, God, don't make us talk about Cuties. Because...
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
let's just say it's awful, left, right, whoever you are. It's awful. Don't watch it.
You can talk about... We can't mention cancel. You can... I'll say you can. You can do whatever you want to. But my point is...
You're a grown-ass woman.
You're a grown-ass woman. We can talk about cancel culture, though. Not necessarily...
I have been worried, and you have mentioned that you kind of vote with your dollars. So if you don't want to support something, don't spend money on it, and I get that, but I see this rise, and if you don't like something, cancel it, and it's been getting worse and worse.
Just because you disagree with it, it needs to be taken off completely?
Or canceled, and okay, let's say, yes, Cuties is awful. I don't need to watch it. I've read enough about it.
Right.
I've seen enough
I'm
details.
never going to watch it, yeah.
No. So, but I don't need to cancel Netflix forever.
No.
And all you people that are canceling Netflix, I'd bet money you're back on there in 2 months. Because when they start showing all those Christmas movies, all those Hallmark movies on Netflix,
yes,
you're going to be watching
right.
them. And so I just think that we need to quit canceling things. And
I just thought of somebody I need to reach out to have on the show that actually told me about Netflix a couple years ago. I'll go back to that later.
I thought we were going to talk about Lifetime Christmas movies.
Do we have to talk about Hallmark Christmas movie?
Is it Lifetime or It's Hallmark?
It's Hallmark.
Sorry, my bad.
Is it Lifetime? They're on the Lifetime channel though, or does Hallmark have their own channel?
I don't know.
That's how out of the loop I am.
I don't have cable. You know
But
that.
you and I have that episode that we're working on. That it's a running joke between us. It's totally
a
running
joke that I've written like 10,000 words of.
Hey, well, it could work. It could work. I mean, I'm all in on it as long as I get to be the actor.
Long story short, don't cancel things. If
right.
you disagree with them, don't cancel them.
Well, I mean, if you want to cancel your own stuff and vote with your pocketbook, that's your business. Don't insist on everybody else having to.
We don't have to cancel Netflix, period, because Netflix has a lot of good shows on it.
Hashtag Cobra Kai.
And Social Dilemma, yeah.
And Social Dilemma. And Narcos.
And like 83 million episodes of Frankie and Grace.
Who?
Exactly.
Don't know that one. You got me on that one.
But I worry about if we start canceling, if I start unfriending you because you believe something different than I do, I'm canceling you out. Well, I'm not having a conversation. Again,
goes back to the title that we call our, I mean, you and I, we exit, and these folks are stuck in their own echo chambers, and, they believe. I'm getting text messages right now from, somebody that believes a certain way about a certain thing, and I know for a fact that what they're saying is not true.
It's true if that's the news they're being spoon-fed, right. And if they're searching it out, and they're probably on YouTube. Getting the extremist videos fed to them one after the other.
Yup.
Yeah.
So,
I would say watch PBS, people.
PBS? I hadn't watched me some PBS since my kids were little.
I say that, and I'm like, is PBS still on?
Are they?
I'm sure they are.
PBS never... Here's what pissed me off about PBS growing up. They never showed, like, the good concerts and the good shows until they were having, like, their fundraiser, their drives, their call-in.
We call that strategy, dear.
Yeah, but the rest of the year, you're seeing, like... stupid stuff. You never got to see cool stuff on PBS. And, there was a time in my life when I was a younger person, PBS was a viable channel that as an option to watch because we lived so far out in the country that...
Right? 12 channels.
Right? You didn't get too many other options. PBS was important. So you turn on and all of a sudden there's, some rock concert on PBS. It's like, oh, cool. And then they interrupt mid-concert, Sorry, we'll bring you right back to the Rolling Stones after you give us $5,000.
They still do that.
I know, but I don't have to watch it.
They had Austin.
I have options now.
Are you?
They had Austin City Limits now. They used
Sundays.
to have Austin City Limits. That was right. Sundays. And when I lived in Maryland, I made sure I was home by the time Austin City Limits came on because I was home.
Exactly. So they did have good stuff.
Back when they had good stuff on. They don't do that anymore. They've ruined it.
How do you know?
Because
you don't watch them.
I don't watch them anymore. That's how I know.
So
that's exactly how I know.
Are you suggesting?
Because everything was better back in the day.
Are you suggesting people cancel NPR?
Not at all.
Or PBS?
I just know that everything was better back in the day, depending on when the day was.
Interesting.
Right? I'm just saying.
Interesting.
We're getting Yingling beer on the side of the Mississippi.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That's awesome. You talk about back in the day.
See how excited I am?
I can tell. So, for those that may not be familiar, Yingling beer is kind of like the Shiner Bock of the Mid-Atlantic region.
You said England beer.
No, Yingling. Y-U-E, spelled Y-U-E-N-G-L-I-N-G.
I
Yingling.
seriously thought you said England, and I was like,
Yingling
do we just
beer
have...
is brewed in the oldest brewery in America, in Pennsylvania. And they typically were regional to that Mid-Atlantic region, and they didn't go further than that. And eventually they got out to the Mississippi, but not beyond it. Mostly because they just didn't want to mess with it. They really just didn't want to deal with distribution. But I think, and this is related to COVID and all that, and them trying to branch out, Coors has actually picked up their distribution for this side of the Mississippi. So
are they going to water it down?
Like Coors?
Exactly.
Yeah, it may be. I don't know. Coors is... I'm not mad at Coors because I can drink a lot of it when I'm, driving and handling firearms and dealing with sharp objects and climbing ladders.
If you're not drinking water, I don't think saying you can drink a lot of it is a good thing.
I'm just playing. It's been a long time since I had... Although Cobra Kai makes me want to drink Coors Banquet beer.
Yeah.
That's a lot of product placement in that one.
I know. Although I don't think having a slightly misogynistic alcoholic teaching your kids while drinking a lot of Coors is really a sales pitch.
I don't think the parents on the show realize how misogynistic he is. Maybe. Like, none of the parents are ever at the dojo.
That's true.
See what I'm saying?
But I don't think that talks me into drinking Coors.
Banquet beer?
Yeah.
Lee Davis talks me into drinking banquet beer. He's the one that drinks that stuff. He'll show up to deer camp with it, and there you go.
Lee Davis, why?
That's what he does.
Why?
That's what he does.
But why?
I can't talk about it right now, but he's supposed to be hooking me up with a potential guest later for the podcast down the road. I can't talk about it right now. I'll talk to you about it when we're not recording.
Is it Pete Coors?
No, it's not Pete Coors, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So, which, by the way, I decided he's a gangster anyway. I mean, by gangster, I mean Lee Davis. So, I'll have to tell you about that later. But definitely a gangster.
Sure he would
in my
appreciate
book.
that.
He would.
I am sure he would appreciate that. Hey, did you hear Joe Rogan offered to host the presidential debates?
I did hear that. I'm all for it. Trump tweeted out within like 30 minutes that he'll do it. So,
did he understand?
I think he 100% understands how popular Joe Rogan is. That's why he was all in immediately.
Oh, he's probably already thinking about, can he get on The Apprentice afterwards?
Right. So,
has he been on The Apprentice?
Rogan? No. Yeah. Given how much of it, I'm in the camp, I'm in the choir, but Trump is a total attention whore, but he knows how popular Rogan is, and that's why he was all in with both feet immediately.
I'm surprised he wasn't jealous because Rogan is the #1 podcast in the world.
Well, yeah, but you can't. It's hard to podcast when you're sitting in the Oval Office. I mean, I guess you could.
No, I would think he's jealous of the attention period because Rogan gets quite a lot of attention.
He does.
And love.
He even got attention from The View.
That was not quite love, but I guess
that was not.
Attention is better than no attention.
Right. So some girl on The View whose name I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look up her name.
The only one I know about there on that show by name is Whoopi Goldberg.
Dude, I have not watched The View since Grace was born.
Wow. When Barbara Walters was on it?
Yeah, I think that was right when it came out. That's when I watched it.
So, girl on The View said that Rogan is sexist, bigoted, misogynistic, homophobe,
racist,
transphobe, yada, yada, yada.
Pretty much any phobe you could
Any of that, and all of that is 100% not true. So,
Sunny Hostin?
Okay, never heard of her.
Me either.
So Rogan has more people listening to his podcast while we're recording this podcast than watch The View in its entirety ever.
Probably.
So
I will say, so when I saw that come out, I actually found a little like 30 or 40 second clip of Joe Rogan saying wildly inappropriate things. Mm-hmm. But it was a clip of a bunch of stuff that was mashed together. And when I see things like that, I think if you had recordings of me for years, you could probably take things that I've said.
Oh, yes.
And they might be meta. They might be me saying someone said XYZ.
Yep.
So taking those out of context is dangerous.
Keeping in mind,
we should all be fearful of that.
Right. Joe Rogan is a stand-up comedian. He says some wildly inappropriate stuff. He says
some off-color stuff.
Yes.
But again, you mash together 40 seconds of someone's decades on TV, and you're probably going to be able to mash together some inappropriate stuff. I've listened to him, and I didn't listen to him for years because, quite frankly, his voice drove me crazy.
Right.
But when I started listening to him, I actually really like him. And with all the women he's interviewed over the last year that I've watched, he has never been misogynistic. I've never heard him be racist. I've heard him have opinions. But when she said that today, I thought, is she just trying to stir things up?
Yeah, she's got to be, and it's probably pettiness, probably jealousy, probably something else. Because if you've really listened to him for any length of time, and I've been listening to him now for 3 or 4 years, whatever it's been, you know he's none of those things.
Yeah.
So
he has some. So he has had some guests that are pretty inflammatory. He's had Alex Jones. He's had Milo Yiannopoulos. He's also had Andrew Yang. He's also had Bernie Sanders.
And Cornel West.
Yeah, he's had a lot of people from every walk of life on every side of the equation.
Exactly right.
So to pick and choose would be short-sighted.
Right. So probably because he had Milo Yiannopoulos and, Ben Shapiro and all that, that's cancel culture kicks in, and we can't allow that independent thought or freedom of speech or any of that to get out there. And Rogan doesn't sit there and amen them. He doesn't sit there and agree with everything they say. He just lets them talk.
He lets them talk.
And
he's usually a little high, not going to lie.
There's that. That's the other part too. Yeah, sometimes there's a little imbibement going on, and I'm wondering how careful he's being in Texas now with that, because although it is Austin, it's still Texas.
They have to be so in love with him that they're just going to look the other way as long as he's not growing it.
It would depend on what county you were in. Depending on what county you're sitting in. He's in Travis County, so he's probably going to be okay.
He's probably fine. I'm sure he did his homework. I'm sure he pays a fine. And I think if it's not an edible, then I think in Texas it's not as much of a problem as
depends on how much the DA wants to get into it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't want to get into it with Joe Rogan.
They probably don't. Yeah. That's not going to be a PR battle that they're going to win.
I hope he does do the debate.
I think it'd be great in the format he's talking about, with just the two of them, no audiences, so you wouldn't have a bunch of screaming,
no
useful idiots.
Questions.
And just having a discussion, basically doing his podcast more or less
with 2 guests instead of 1,
who happen to be running for president. He has 2 or 3 on it sometimes. I mean, he's had multiples on there before.
I'm aware.
I think he would do well at it. And I think it would be good for people to hear that, because a 3-hour conversation, in that time, you're going to be able to hear not just sound bites and snippets and what the echo chamber is saying.
Shit, maybe it'd be kumbaya and they'd come together.
Could be. I doubt it, but it could be.
There people would be on either side going, no!
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. News. Other things. They're still looking for the shooter in L.A.
That ambushed the deputies.
Yeah, and they're in stable condition.
That was the female. I heard she was shot twice.
I think in the face and in the arm.
Stayed on her feet. Was applying medical to the other officer, if I'm not mistaken. The
weird thing was, going around on Facebook, and this is, again, fake news, drives me crazy. People were posting really heartfelt, poignant post about her little boy, and her fighting for her life, and her little boy praying for her. And they put a picture of like a photo, just like a generic blonde woman, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Not her.
Not her at all.
No.
I saw that. And that's why I was confused, because I saw that. And then I saw the picture of the deputy, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was really weird. I was like, why are people doing that?
That's not right at all.
And so, again, people...
So it's probably a Russian bot or a Chinese
I may have liked it because I liked the words that went with it, but then I was like, that is a weird picture, because that is not her.
Good heartfelt sentiment, but the woman in question was not at all what the picture displayed.
Yeah, so again, watch what you post, people.
Right. Thank you. Oh my God. And please watch what you see on the Facebook and take it to be gospel. Oh my God.
We're not going to talk about that and embarrass someone.
No, my phone is blowing up with stuff that's definitely 100% got to be true, because it's on the Facebook.
And it probably came from Babylon Bee or The Onion or some other reputable source like that.
So I'm leaving it alone.
Yeah, so back to that, they're still looking for the
reward. I think the reward last I heard is like $200,000.
Geez, just do it because it's right. Who cares about the
Well,
reward?
but that's how you catch them.
Yeah.
I mean, $200,000.
Well, loose lips.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's
Yeah.
going to talk.
Somebody's mama or somebody.
And
yeah.
it may be a week, and maybe 2 weeks, and
It
maybe
takes a
2
little bit of
months.
time. But
People can't keep their mouths shut.
you can't put rewards out there for every bad guy that's out there. It doesn't always work like that. But I will say this. It doesn't usually take a whole lot of money for somebody to realize, hey, wait a minute, even if it's $5,000, that's a free $5,000. You can buy some cool shit for $5,000.
Well, chances are that person's going to make somebody mad, and that somebody is going to tell on them. Or
he's
tell
going to prison for
someone.
life anyway. He shot 2 cops.
Well, is it just for life? Does California have the death penalty?
He didn't kill either one of them, so it's
That's
not capital.
true. That's
so
true.
yeah, the last capital punishment that I know that I know for a fact California doled out was when Schwarzenegger was governor. They executed the guy. His first name, he went by the name of Tukey. He was one of the founders of the Crips. So
Interesting.
I can't think of his real name. Tukey was his street name.
Wow, that was a lot of many years ago.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger signed off on that. I don't know if there's been one since then or not, to be honest with you. But that was a relatively famous one just because of who the person was. So doing that one from memory. So you'll have you're welcome to Wikipedia fact check me.
That was impressive that you could remember that because I can't
I was in the
remember where my
business at the
keys
time.
are.
I was in the business at the time. So I
You
remember.
were a Crip?
No, it's not a crib. Jesus
I'm sorry, but the way
Christ.
you said I was in the business.
No.
Really, you were in the business. Tell me
No,
more.
I was a correctional officer at the time, and I've encountered more than one of those, and know them well. So when one of them got executed, I wasn't too sad. So
Good to know.
I know, right? You got your mask on? Are you wearing a mask right now, Mel?
I'm not wearing a mask. I did buy those masks the other day that looked really cool, though.
The black ones?
Yeah, I shrunk one in the washer.
Oh, that happens?
Oh.
Are they 100% cotton?
And it must be because, wow, it felt like I had, I don't know, duct tape across my face.
Really?
Yeah, not a good thing. Thanks, Amazon.
Well, I still have the runner's buff that I use, which I know for a fact, or I say for a fact, it's not supposed to be effective at all. I don't care.
Oh, shit. Are we talking about masks? We promised we were going to talk about masks, and we're talking about masks.
Mostly we're talking about, what I'm getting to is people outing
Oh, yes. Okay.
other people for not wearing masks.
Thank you for that segue, Mr. Campbell.
You're welcome.
I am on my high horse today.
Get on your high horse, madam. Spur the hell out of him.
I am belt fed.
Let him rear up like...
Can I mix my metaphors like that?
Hell yes. Like the Lone Ranger, spur, you just high ho silver and go. Just go ahead on your high horse. I'll sit back and listen.
Could the Lone Ranger be belt fed? I don't think those
Not in those
metaphors-
days.
Yeah, I don't
Not
think
in those
metaphors
days.
work.
Best the Lone
No,
Ranger could have
so-
done would have been Gatling gun.
Which we read about when we stopped at that road marker.
We did.
Remember?
We'll get to that later.
Okay. We'll
Go ahead.
circle back.
Circle back.
And we're going to use all the corporate lingo.
Put a pin in it.
We'll whiteboard that
Are you
later.
going to talk about people wearing out for masks or not?
Okay, I'm getting on my high horse. Sorry.
Get on it.
Coming back. Land that plane. There has been this new thing in social media groups and Nextdoor, and y'all, I have some Nextdoor stories because I'm a Nextdoor lead. And
You could do a whole story on Nextdoor.
You could do a book on Nextdoor. The stuff that people will text or message drunk is amazing.
You right?
It's a whole different thing on Nextdoor.
You don't have to use your real name on Nextdoor, do you?
You're supposed to. They
Supposed
try to
to.
verify you, and you have to use a real address.
So if you out your neighbor for having too many yard signs, political signs in their yard,
So that's been a thing. That's
Right.
on Nextdoor. Apparently, our little town can only have one sign, and when you tell me I can only do something, I want to go the opposite direction. So we don't have any yard signs, but I want to put up like 1,000,000 yard signs now and just like pepper the yard with them.
I should put up a Trump, you should put up a Biden, which, by the way, I've never seen a Biden sign anywhere ever. I should put up a Trump, you should put up a Biden. We'll put them next to each other, a respectable 6 feet apart. They'll be socially distanced 6 feet apart.
If I'm putting up a sign,
Uh-huh.
I am putting up that sign you posted today that said F them both 2020.
I like that one. It's on our Instagram. Yes, check out our Instagram
Yeah.
to see what we're talking about. Look us up, Exit the Echo Chamber on Instagram.
Yeah. So anyway, back to like Nextdoor and social media stuff. There have been people who have decided that it is their responsibility to find businesses with employees or business owners who are not adhering to the mask mandate that we have right now. I wear my mask out. I
Right.
think they help. I hope they help. I'm fine with it. It's an inconvenience, but I'm fine with it, except for the too small one now. But there is something really messed up if you go into a small mom and pop shop and you notice that they're not wearing their mask and you decide to out them on social media and rant about it and how they should be closed down, and you get dozens of people to agree with you that they're never going to give them their business. To that, I say, screw you.
Agreed. 100%.
Makes me so mad. Makes me want to go to that. I don't need any tchotchkes. There's one store in particular. It's a cute little store that I would buy birthday gifts at. I haven't been in there since I bought birthday gifts for someone. Makes me want to go buy stuff just because I think people are trying to destroy their livelihood.
Right.
Because they caught them not wearing a mask. Maybe they were taking a drink. Maybe they were taking a breath. Maybe they'd had their mask on for 7 or 8 hours. Who knows?
That's the other part. When you work at home, I'm talking about you, but anybody, you do IT or whatever from home, and then you do go out into venture out in the real world, and you walk into a business and they have to put their mask on. That person may have been behind that counter or in that business for 8-10 hours or more.
Yeah.
And it could be hot. That doesn't get uncomfortable after a while. They rub on your ears.
You could have washed a mask and it could be too small and you could be gasping like I was. But the other thing is, if you work from home and you only put on your mask an hour or two a week because you're going to get groceries or you're going to pick up little Johnny, whatever, you don't know what it's like to wear a mask 8 to 10 hours a day. So give these people a break.
Right.
Like, give these mom and pops. And they've been doing it. There have been several restaurants that they've been doing it to. A couple of small retail shops, and it just makes me furious.
If you're mad at Walmart, I'll say, for doing that, it's one thing. If you're mad at mom and pop people that are your bread and butter and the backbone of your town that sponsor the little leagues and do all that other kind of stuff, you're wrong for that.
Well, shame on you.
Yeah. Wear your mask if you want to, and that's fine. I carry one with me because I don't, if I'm going into a grocery store and I'm going to do my thing, go to my grocery store and leave.
You do that dance, though, where you, go 20 feet from your
car,
20 feet,
and then I see you drop an F-bomb.
Mouth the F-bomb, and I see you shake your head and go back to your car.
Right. Go back and get the mask. I'm getting better I haven't done that dance in the last several trips to the store. So,
really?
Yeah, I think I was clear today. I put on my, runner's buff.
That's
I
true.
can wear it just around my neck and forget it's there.
Yeah.
So, which I know are not supposed to be as effective as the N95. I've got that and the mask that Miss Mary at Curious Collections in College Station, Texas, shout out, made for me. And the black one that you bought me. I hope mine's probably the one that shrunk. And
in that case, can we find the other one?
Right. The paper mask I do find are easier to breathe through.
Yeah.
But the buff is probably the easiest.
I wear the paper ones quite often, and I replace them often.
Right.
But
and don't be screaming if you're against the masks. That's fine too. Don't be screaming at the 16-year-old girl behind the counter because she has to wear one because her boss is making her. Just get off the gas, buy your stuff, and get out.
Yeah. We just be kind. This 2020 sucks for everybody, so just be kind. Don't try to destroy businesses. Don't try to make teenagers cry. And if you are destroying businesses with your gossip, just know that that's somebody's livelihood, somebody's life.
Going to come back around on you too.
Yeah.
You're going to live in that glass house. You be careful which hammers you're throwing.
And if I see you do it.
So, yeah. You're being a bully if you're yelling at some kid. I'm sorry. You just are. But what else? What do you got?
I think I'm done.
Mutsy. I hear Mutsy.
Oh, can you hear that snoring? If y'all can hear that, that's my fat little pug. If you hear snoring
on the show, there's a pug below us right now.
That's my 9-year-old pug, and she is a pretty, pretty princess.
She
happens to snore a little.
And she sleeps about 300% of the day. And sits in her little spot on the staircase and will not move. I don't care how big of a load you're going by her. You will go around her, not the other way around. And right now she's asleep down here. As we're talking, she just gives zero F-bombs.
I hope they can't hear because she's so cute.
She is cute. I mean, yeah, admittedly, she needs Benadryl to breathe. I mean,
She's a pug, for crying out loud. You need Benadryl to breathe too.
Hey, that's because I'm, can't breathe.
Yeah.
Because allergies. Hashtag.
Duly noted.
Duly noted. And as usual, I guess Robin is correct.
Seriously?
I mean.
And Ryan is right.
I mean, sometimes.
Good night, y'all.